So you know what sucks? Finally being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that I knew I had 16 years ago. So, story time. For the past 16 years, I have had really bad back pain, um, you know, early 20s, that kind of thing, not kind of really realizing why I have so much pain. I've been to many different doctors, basically wasted my time, and then only to be told every time, it's your weight of your breasts, it is hormones, it's anxiety, you have an anxiety disorder, and this is making your ribs hurt and causing costochondritis, which is inflammation of the chest wall. So go figure. Anyway, only for me to finally get frustrated enough to basically beg my GP to do anything, any kind of investigations, any kind of imaging, any kind of anything. And we did some genetic testing, some lab work, and I came back positive for a gene that basically corresponds with ankylosing spondylitis. So that is very frustrating to me because my mom has that. And I don't know how many times and how many doctors and how many walk-in clinic visits from Vancouver to West Kelowna to Kelowna. I have wasted so much time trying to figure out why I have so much back pain. Only to be told all of those various things, and oh, it's your weight, and it's this, and it's that. And obviously those are contributing factors, but it's just really frustrating that I actually have the disease. And that was basically found out through the gene testing. I then got referred to a rheumatologist who was lovely and very knowledgeable. She sent me for an x-ray. The x-ray showed some things that they weren't happy with. So then I went for an MRI. Then the MRI showed clearly ankylosing spondylitis and all sorts of things. Bone marrow edema, bunch of other things that I had never even heard of because I'm not a radiologist. I'm just an LPN. So anyway, super frustrating, but feels kind of liberating to finally know that there is a reason that I'm in 3 to 5 out of 10 pain most of the time, and it's not anything I've done. It's literally an autoimmune disease. So yeah, medical gaslighting is real, especially if you're female. The research that I have seen online basically says that if you're male, you pretty much get diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis like 6 to 12 years earlier than females, which is very frustrating. That's really all I can say about it. Other than that is keep advocating for yourself. If you know something is wrong, you are in your body. You know something is wrong. So keep pushing, keep looking, keep trying. And that's really all I can say. We have to take care of ourselves the best we can. I am a nurse, so healthcare is my jam. I love healthcare. I love being a part of healthcare. I love interacting with physicians. I love interacting with other allied health professionals. I think everybody has a part to play in that, and that there's a lot of information and knowledge out there. But I just wish that women were listened to more often than not, because we are listened to never or rarely. And the frustrating part for me is that had I known I had the real possibility of causing spinal damage to my SI joints and my literal spine, that I wouldn't have died on so many different hills, such as when my male coworkers at the school district, when I was doing custodial back when I was in my early 20s, would say, oh, here, let me lift that for you. Let me lift that for you. And I would be like, I'm lifting it myself. I never should have done that. I was lifting things that were heavier for my body and for my frame to prove a point that I was as strong as them and that I could do these things. When in reality, I was actually causing myself irreparable damage. Had I known that, I really do believe that I would have made significant alterations to the wear and tear I put my body through over these past 16 years of wondering why I have back pain. You know, something to think about. So, yeah, if I could say anything to anybody who has chronic pain and is not yet diagnosed, keep pushing, keep bugging them, especially if you're in British Columbia, especially if you're in Canada. You have access to a myriad of healthcare professionals. You have access to BC paid healthcare. You have access to so much more than other parts in the world. And if you get gaslighted, if you get ignored, seek a new provider. Keep searching, keep looking. More often than not, there is a reason for your pain. I mean, it's unreal to imagine that it's made up when you're having real stiffness in the morning, real pain. You're following absolutely the progression of these issues, these chronic inflammatory diseases, and they're saying, no, it's not. It's because of being pregnant. It's because of your breasts. It's because of hormones. It's because of your period. It's because you're overweight. Yes, again, contributing factors, but not, absolutely not defining factors, because those things can be changed. And if the pain remains, they're not the factor. They are not the only thing. So, yeah, ankylosing spondylitis, not the diagnosis that I, would have expected for myself at 36, but here we are. And it's kind of unreal that my whole life I thought that I couldn't have it because we were tested through amniocentesis, my sister and I, when my mom was pregnant. However, the rheumatologist said no, they couldn't have tested for that. That would have had to have been a blood test. So essentially, medical gaslighting, began before I was even born with my mother, where they told her that we were taken care of, that we did not have, whatever they said at that point in 1989 when she was pregnant with me, to demonstrate that we would be healthy when we were born. But she had advanced maternal age. She was 38 when I was born. So probably the amniocentesis was just to make sure we didn't have Down syndrome. So it probably actually had nothing to do with ensuring that we didn't have any form of arthritis, inflammatory disease, any of those things that she was worrying about passing to us. And so we all kind of lived in a blissful unawareness until the evidence kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger to support that I have an autoimmune disease. And it's very frustrating. It's frustrating for my mother. She thought she was, doing the right things. But again, medical gaslighting for female patients is a real thing. She thought she had protected us and that, She had done everything she could do, getting the amniocentesis. She thought, that was the case. I was never told once by any doctor other than this rheumatologist that I saw that they couldn't have known whether or not we would have the gene for ankylosing spondylitis via amniocentesis. I have told that same iteration to many, many doctors over the past 16 years, and they've all just gone, yeah, okay, and then listed off those things that I already said that I'm so sick of hearing. So anyway, medical gaslighting began even before I was born. Stick up for yourselves. I mean, obviously be kind and respectful to your healthcare providers. They're just doing the best that they can with the information that they have, but the entire system needs to shift and needs to change. It's not even about giving more power to the patient. It's just about getting rid of these biases that are purely based on bizarre societal things, male versus female. It is time to change that. It is 2026, and what are we still doing? Blaming every single thing on hormonal changes, periods, breasts. That's got to be the entire cause of all of your low back pain. Yes. Right. Well done. So yeah, to say I'm angry, accurate. But I think that this can help other women to stand up for themselves in healthcare. And if even one person feels emboldened to stand up for themselves against medical gaslighting based on basically purely whether you're male or female, then it's worth it to have shared this, and it's worth it to, come off as whining or oversharing, that kind of thing. I've always felt like we have voices for a reason. We have stories to tell. And now ankylosing spondylitis is part of my story. And as unfortunate as that is, and as the implications for my male children, that's worrisome. However, we now know, to watch for signs of pain, signs of those things, so that we can help them to mitigate symptoms if they do have it, or to, hopefully have them never have it. It is a concern. It's a thought on my mind all the time, right from the moment that I had the gene testing. But yeah, medical gaslighting, frustrating, but you owe it to yourself to be your best advocate and keep pushing for factual information. Tests with factual evidence, and they cannot ignore you anymore with that information. And if they do, seek a new provider. It's, as I said, we're so lucky in British Columbia, we're so lucky in Canada that we have access to world-class healthcare. I know a lot of people complain about the healthcare system here, but the reality of it is we would all be bankrupt if we had to pay for even part of the healthcare that we're receiving right now. It's overwhelming how much other places have to pay for their healthcare. Yeah, we are very lucky, but there are still holes to be filled. There are still things that can be made better. There are still systems in place that medically gaslight people and push people's ultimate knowing that something is wrong down so that they don't believe, in intuition, in their body, in things that they know to be true about themselves. So anyway, if you're struggling with autoimmune disease, if you're struggling with diagnosis, if you're struggling with chronic pain, if you're struggling with any of those things, I'm sorry. And I really hope that things get better for you. And I hope that we as a society can help to make things better for everybody else. So that's all we can hope for. Thanks for listening to my rant.